I think the biggest hurdle to overcome is getting the technology into universities, into education, in order to forward it to engineers and actually apply what we have on great technology to the actual problems and efforts in industry.
The biggest hurdles for industrialization of additive manufacturing is actually the application itself, and making sure that for this application the entire value chain is closely connected to each other. And that's where you also need the software solutions, you need hardware solutions, you need material solutions dedicated for that application to be able to scale that up and make it interesting for the industry.
Yeah, I think that yes, everybody says, like the analysts say, that we are on the verge of industrialization for additive manufacturing, but it tends to take time to happen. And I think one of the main reasons is probably, there are probably two reasons. First of all, this is still a new process, fairly new process, so there is a lack of maturity and a lack of understanding of additive manufacturing by the industry. So basically they need to be educated about the potential of the process. And then it's a digital process, so it looks like, okay, everything is great, everything is on computer, but to execute a workflow end-to-end about additive manufacturing, you need to use a lot of different solutions today, and they're not always well connected. So one of the current hurdles is actually to have a way to really have a streamlined workflow where you can really connect the different bricks that you need and basically break the silos between the different activities that you go through when you want to develop a part for additive manufacturing. So that's what I would say, yeah.
Well, we've been through a very exciting time, but I think the additive industry still has a few hurdles to overcome to get to a full industrialization. The hurdles I can think of are really some basic engineering challenges that we're seeing today. So we need to understand much better what kind of parameter sets, we need to broaden the range of materials that exist, and we need to improve the way we operate the factory. But we also need to help engineers overcome some constraints in imagining and designing new parts for additive. So part of the industrialization process is to popularize the ability, the capabilities of the additive manufacturing process to more people.
I think the biggest hurdles for industrialization of additive manufacturing is really talking about connected workflows. It's really the point of starting with a conceptualization, with an idea of a product, and then be sure that you have all of the steps of digital and real world in your hands and make sure that you will get to a successful part production in the final end.
In about 2013, companies started to realize that they had to go beyond prototyping and they started to dream about production. Now we're ready for that. So over these past 10 years, they figured out what they had to overcome. And obviously, from what I understand, the biggest hurdle is going from a few hundred to a few tens of thousands of parts. So once you figure out how to go to a few tens of thousands, then you can start to talk about production. To go into a few tens of thousands, you need repeatability. The most important thing is the repeatability of parts. How you achieve that there are so many different challenges associated with achieving repeatability. But if I have to summarize, it's the repeatability of the parts.
To make progress in the industrialization of the additive manufacturing methods, I think it's still necessary to have the systems more productive and also more reliable. So industrial standards have to play a bigger role in making progress for this technology.
Honestly, for me, the biggest hurdle is education about what's possible. Our technology is still relatively new in the space. Markforged specifically specializes in strong reinforced composite parts, where customers can literally replace aluminum with plastic composite parts using reinforced continuous carbon fiber. Things like that are not obvious, especially to people that are new to the space or have been in manufacturing using the same processes. So the more we can show people what's possible, the more success stories we have and the more collaborations we have with people that are making software, people that are making machines and materials. Things like the collaboration between Markforged and MSC's Digimat tool, Hexagon MSC Digimat tool. I don't know do you guys care what I call it? Sorry, I don't. All right. Collaboration between the Digimat tool and Markforged Eiger software, which allows our customers to simulate the strength of their parts and have confidence that this part's going to solve their problem for their application, is critical for us to be able to successfully continue to industrialize, to integrate this technology into their workflows.
I believe the biggest hurdle to overcome to achieve, industrialization of additive manufacturing is really not just the process, the printer itself, but it's about the complete workflow, including the post-processing. It's also before the printing itself, it's about the design for additive manufacturing. So having the right skilled people to be able to understand the application and really work on designing a part which is fully optimized for the process, but also define what post-processing is required to meet the industry standard and the certification required. I think this is, for me, the most important challenge in the industry, is the competency and the skills, not just the printing process itself.